Today's novel, Dracula, is a lifetime Gothic horror novel by Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker was an Irish novelist and Dracula is his masterpiece. It was written originally with the name The Undead and was changed shortly before publication. The plot summary is like this. The novel begins as a narration from the journal of a man named Jonathan Harker who travels from Munich to London and to Bistritz to meet Count Dracula. While traveling, he seems to dawdle through a country which is full of beauty of every kind. He sees towns and castles, rivers and streams. Count Dracula had directed Jonathan to go to the Golden Crown Hotel, which to his delight is an old-fashioned one. When he gets near the door, he faces an old cherry-looking woman. She smiles and gives some message to an elderly-looking man. The man immediately returns with a letter. It's a letter to Jonathan which reads, "My friend, welcome to the Carpathians. I'm anxiously expecting you. Sleep well tonight. At 3 tomorrow, the diligence will start for Bukovina. A place on it is kept for you. At the Borgo Pass, my carriage will await you and bring you to me. I trust that your journey from London has been a happy one and that you will enjoy your stay in my beautiful land. Your friend, Dracula." The old man is instructed to secure the best place on the coach for Jonathan. When Jonathan asks about Dracula to the old men and women, they look at each other in a frightened sort of way and simply refuses to speak anything further. Just before Jonathan is leaving, the old lady comes to his room and asks if he should go. Jonathan tells her that he had to go at once because he is engaged in an important meeting. The old lady then asks him if he knew what day it was. Jonathan answers it is 4th of May. The lady shakes her head and says she knows that, and again she asks if he knew what day it was. Jonathan says he did not understand what she meant to ask. The old lady then tells him that it's the eve of St. George's Day. When the clock strikes midnight, all the evil things in the world have full sway. She also asked Jonathan if he knew where he was going and what he was going to. Finally, the old lady goes down on her knees and implores Jonathan not to go. Jonathan feels everything ridiculous and also uncomfortable. He says to the old lady that his duty was imperative and he must leave. The old lady puts a rosary round his neck and leaves the room. When Jonathan gets on the coach, he watches the driver talking to the old lady, evidently about Jonathan himself. Other people who listened to their talks also looked at Jonathan pityingly. Jonathan only gathers some snippets from their talks which were not very pleasing for him. Some of them meant vampire or werewolf. When the coach starts, the crowd in door all makes the sign of cross and points towards Jonathan as a charm to guard him against the evil eyes. Everyone in the coach seems kind-hearted, sorrowful and sympathetic towards Jonathan. The driver cracks his big whip over his 4 small horses and the journey begins. As the darkness falls, somehow Jonathan finds people sitting in the coach asking the driver to drive fast to reach Borgo Prant. Throughout the way, he finds cross and people on their knees praying and self-surrendering of devotion to have neither ears nor eyes for the outer world. When the coach enters the Borgo Pass, one by one each passenger offers Jonathan some gifts and prays for him, which he feels very odd. As the coach flies along, the driver leans forward and on each side passenger peers eagerly into the darkness. Jonathan, when asked the passengers about what or whom they are looking for, no one gives him any reply. When the coach finally reaches the pass, the horses begin to neigh and snort and plunge wildly. Then amongst a chorus of screams from peasants and a universal crossing of themselves, a caleche with 4 horses drives up behind them overtakes them and draws up beside the coach. From the flash of lamps in the coach, Jonathan sees that the horses that came are coat black and splendid animals. They are driven by a tall man with a long brown beard and a great black hat which hides his face. His eyes are red in the lamplight. As he smiles, the lamplight falls on his hard-looking mouth with red lips and sharp-looking teeth as white as ivory. Jonathan's luggage are put in the carriage. Without a word from the tall man, his horses turn and they sweep into the darkness of the pass. Jonathan now remembers the old lady's words about midnight. He feels afraid, but the driver is least disturbed. Fine snow begins to fall, and soon everything around them is covered with a white blanket of snow. The baying of wolves sounds nearer and nearer. Suddenly, away on their left, a faint, flickering blue flame appears. The driver sees it at the moment, checks the horses, jumps to the ground and disappears in the darkness. While Jonathan wonders what to do as the howling of wolves grow closer, the driver suddenly appears, takes his seat and resumes journey. There appears a strange optical effect when the driver stands between the blue flame and Jonathan. Strangely, the driver does not obstruct the light which startles Jonathan. Again there comes a time when the driver goes further afield, and during his absence the horses begin to tremble worse than ever and to snort and to scream with fear. Jonathan is not able to see the cause of it, but just then the moon appears sailing through the black clouds, and by its light Jonathan sees a ring of wolves with white teeth, red tongues, dewy limbs and shaggy hair. Jonathan feels paralyzed after fear. It is only when one feels face to face with such horrors he can understand their true import. All at once the wolf begins to howl. Jonathan calls the coachman out of fear. To his surprise, he hears a voice raised in the tone of imperious command, and looking towards the sound, sees the coachman standing in the roadway. The wolves fall back and finally disappears as the driver climbs the calash. The incident proves too strange and uncanny that Jonathan is too afraid to speak or move. The calash keeps on ascending, and suddenly Jonathan finds driver pulling up the horses in the courtyard of a vast ruined castle with tall black windows and broken basements. End of part 1.